31, aren't we?
We are 31, Dill. That's right. Hello, and welcome to episode 31 of the Live Wire Gaming Show. Dill was making sure it was episode 31, and it is indeed episode 31. It's just the two of us
remembered it
again.
because Stephen missed his milestone of 30 episodes last week. So
he's coming back for the episode that matches his age, though, I think. But yeah, it's just the two of us this week. Stephen's moving house, and he doesn't have internet, and he's very busy. Or his missus has buried his body in the back garden and just hasn't told us yet. But yeah, episode 31. I haven't heard from
him. If you haven't heard from him,
he's dead. He's dead.
He's dead. Yeah.
Nah, he's just very busy. But he should be back. I think we should be back to our full complement next week. And
I'll fuck off for next week.
One of us. I'll have to disappear one of these weeks. But yeah, me and Dylan are here this week, and we're going to talk about something that Dill just recently finished playing, and I played just before Christmas when the PS5 first launched, and it's Spider-Man Miles Morales. We will probably dip into the original PS4 version of the game as well sometimes and draw some comparisons, but yes, the PS5 upgrade to Spider-Man plus Spider-Man Miles Morales, which
Spider-Man
basically
1.5.
Spider-Man. It really was a 1.5. It was the old Destiny 1.5 jokes. It really was Spider-Man 1.5, and that's not a bad thing, by the way.
No,
like that's not a criticism. It was what they had was great, and it was like, how can you just give us a little bit more of that? And it was, we'll get into that in a few minutes. How are you? What have you been up to?
Good. I'm just fresh off a play of Spider-Man, like I was telling you, so I'm hoping that I can remember more than 15 minutes.
I mean, the story was only about 15 minutes long, so.
But that's good.
Not
it doesn't necessarily need to be long to be good. Like, games don't necessarily need to be hard to be good, but anyway.
Naughty Dog. Neil Druckmann.
like Naughty Dog games are a full-time job, basically. I've been working, so I have minimal games played over the last week. Played a bit of Destiny with yourself. We've done a bit of Iron Banner today. We've done our raids on Reset, and I think we played over the weekend. Did we? I can't remember.
I can't remember. Yeah.
I can't remember anything
since last Tuesday when the new season started. Like, it's just been.
Yeah, to me that feels like it's been 2 or 3 weeks already.
Yeah.
This is the first reset since.
It's a blur.
Yeah, but other than that, I haven't been doing anything, games wise. No, starting to get back into a bit of a routine. So balancing work, balancing the gym, balancing gaming, balancing relationship. Fun. Get to be an adult again. Well, semi-adult. All the toys around me. Yeah. But no, I've enjoyed actually Destiny over the last while. I haven't had do you know what it was? It was when I had ultimate amount of time and Destiny was only curbing that for say like a fraction of it, and I needed to fill it with other games. Whereas I haven't had that, so it's actually been enjoyable playing Destiny when you're not trying to just condense it into a minimal amount of time. But yeah, that's been me for the last week. What about you?
Yeah, it's basically the same, really. I haven't played anything else other than Destiny since the new season started. Anything gaming's been going into that. Enjoying the new season, as always. It's new stuff to do, new story to do, leveling up a bit. Like the new story, it's been kind of chipping away at it the way it is. It's they drop it as the seasonal content where you get a bit this week and a bit next week and a bit next week, and that's all. That's the way it is. So I just get on with it.
Now I have found something worse than the weekly drop.
Go.
Pokemon Go. 16 quest lines. You can do just one part. Yeah. Like, we were in town this afternoon, and I was like, we had lunch, and we were like, we'll head home in a bit, but Pokemon has a new quest, so it was like, we'll walk around and do some raids and do that, blah, blah, blah. Literally halfway through walking up to Steven's Green, we were finished the first task, and that was it.
I said that to Steve, and I was like, you thought Destiny was bad? And he's like, but you played Pokemon hardcore. I was like, Steven, I finished it on a toilet.
It was using incense and catch fucking 10 Pokemon and take 3 photos.
It was nothing. But I saw that. I was like, fuck, seriously. Now, I'm sure there's some story meaning behind it and blah, blah, blah. But
yes,
Yeah.
But let us do like 4 or 5. Like if you're gonna do like if
Fucking
there's 16
thing.
steps, do it in like stages of 4, 4 fours, or like do fucking 5, 5, and 5 or 6, and then
Yeah,
one at
it
the
was
end or something
ridiculous.
like that.
It really was ridiculous.
Stupid. But yeah, sorry, go on.
But yeah, no, just the new Destiny stuff. The new season stuff is good. All the Shattered Throne, the Shattered Realm thing is great. Where you're going in and you're doing the beacons, and we had a new one this week, and we've another new one next week. No spoilers on what that is.
I
But
haven't
yeah,
played this week's at all.
yeah,
Just
it's the same as last week, just in a different location.
okay.
Yeah,
Has
so
the thing changed? The seasonal activity? Do
no,
you know
it's
the
the
way it
same.
was
It's the same, but
same?
they've added back in the part that was broken. It's
That
a
was
different
broken.
boss. It's a different boss.
Okay.
Yeah, the boss is
But that's
different,
what I
but
enjoyed about
everything's
the
the same.
Splicer one. It was
Yeah.
it changes like different planet
Yeah.
each week, which kind of reinvigorated it.
Yeah,
The
no,
replayability.
it's all the same except for the boss is different.
Okay.
Which yeah, fine. Just apart from that, it's just been the normal stuff. Yeah, it's been. It's the same with me. It's always the same. Whenever a new Destiny season launches, it's just, what have I
Yeah,
done?
that's all you want
So
to play. But
can't
it's
remember. It's just all a big blur.
yeah, and like you said, it's only since last week, and it feels like it's
It
been a
feels
couple
like
of
about a
weeks. Like
month.
yeah,
Yeah,
but it is nice being like doing the dungeons again, like Prophecy,
I think that's the
and
best
getting
part of
new
it.
loot.
Yeah, the best part of it
Because
has been Prophecy has the old Trials of the Nine loot.
yeah, yeah, like it's I was never really a fan of bringing back old activities with newer loop, because it's like we've done the activity, the loop is the
Yeah.
same, nothing's changed boss wise or anything. But because the loop pool is so generous
Mm.
and everything is considered decent to use, it kind of changes it a little bit.
Yeah, I'm looking
You know?
forward to getting the guns I want and get out of there. But
Yeah,
yeah, no, it's been nice chasing some different guns again. They're all good guns and they're all nice looking guns. So
and it's
it'd be
quick as
cool if
well. That's
yeah,
the best part.
you
Like
can
you're
get
one
you
phase in the boss now,
yeah,
or
it's 3 platform
third
in the
phase.
boss. It's
Yeah,
fucking ridiculous it is. How quick you can take it down with 1k and
1K.
1-0 composure.
Mm.
I don't even know what else I've done this week. I've had football, I've walked the dog, I've watched wrestling. I can't even remember what happened because it was so fucking bad this week. But yeah, it's
Wrestling cheesy and bad, never.
no. So the story, right? I kind of when I watched it on Monday night, or no, I watched it Tuesday evening. I think I watched it Tuesday evening. But like when I was watching, I was like, something's not right here. Like something just
Hmm.
feels. It felt very underprepared or something, and it came
Okay.
out on Tuesday or Wednesday that like 3 hours before the show was due to air, Vince ripped up the fucking script for the show because he thought it was absolute garbage. They
Jesus.
rewrote the whole thing and he ripped it up again. So come like
Now,
2 hours before the show started, they didn't have a plan of what that was going on, and it showed. It
Jesus.
really showed. But yeah,
It
it
was
was
just
funny.
completely like on the spot, kind of method
Yeah,
shit.
yeah. It was weird.
Like, you know the way you hear all this stuff about Vince, and like it's always been like him over the years being like a dickhead and stuff.
Yeah.
Is that actually just a character, or is that just him as a like management, like
I
an
think it depends
ownership
on
of
who
the
you
company?
speak to. Like, there's some of them, like from watching the Stone Cold interviews with people, like with other wrestlers, some of them think he's an absolute genius. And
Yeah.
then there's others that obviously like CM Punk, who left wrestling and is now in AEW, hates the man, like
Mm.
hates the man with a passion. But like, then you've got some like Stone Cold who think he's an absolute genius, and Undertaker who think he's almost like a second father to them. So it's kind of yeah.
Weird.
know.
It's like he's
Yeah,
always
it's
in
weird.
character, is it?
Yeah, it's a bit weird. It's hard. It's hard to know. I think. I think the man is a genius in his own way, but I
Yeah.
think he is losing the plot's probably not a fair way to put it, but he's making strange decisions over the last 12 months or so, and that could be to do with money's a bit tight because of the pandemic, or there's
Mm.
competition from AEW. But yeah, it's weird. Or the theory going around is that he's just letting go of all the big contracts so he can sell the company.
Okay.
Because like he's not a young man. He's
No,
fucking-
he'd be
he's
what, in his 70s now?
80s, in his 70s or 80s.
Eight?
Like
Oh, okay.
he's
Jesus.
Vince McMahon's not young. Like he's really
Because
not
I always
young.
viewed him as a character. I never viewed him as an actual the owner of WWE. You know.
He's 76. So like he could potentially be looking at it that way because a lot of the over the last few months that like Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt are two of big high profile names and they would have been on mega contracts like
Yeah.
Cristiano Ronaldo at Man United style contracts.
Yeah.
And they both got let go from their contracts. So and there was a lot of backlash for that. Pardon the WrestleMania backlash event pun, but people think that he is looking to sell. So it's
Which is part of the agenda.
yeah. It's weird. Like AEW, like I saw a meme. It's AEW is the WWE that we deserve, and it's like yeah, it's probably true. It's more enjoyable, but yeah, it's one of those things. Fucking hell. But yeah, that's been my week. I have an episode of AEW to catch up on. I'll watch that tonight. But
Nice.
it's been just Destiny.
Just Destiny. For 6 months.
For 6 months. That's the thing. You kind of like, I think, I don't remember what it was. They were talking about, oh, I need to get this gear. I need to do this. And that. It's like, you've got 6 months.
Yeah.
Like, you've got 6 months. Take your time. You've got plenty of time to get it done. Yeah. And then they're going to tell us, like, in December that Dream City's going away, and Witch Queen will be like, quick, get Petra's run finished.
Get everything done. Yeah, it's going to be like fucking when everything was getting vaulted again. But that was actually fun because everyone was like...
Everyone was on the same page.
Not panic mode, but everyone just wanted to like be in
Yeah.
those environments and get their collectibles and get their challenges and triumphs and shit like that done.
Yeah.
Which was
Doing
it was pretty cool.
20 skirts of the past bosses in one night and shit like that.
Yeah, pretty much. It was fun. Destiny's always at its best when you're doing shit like that.
Yeah. Together.
Get there.
And you're doing it together. Right. Shall we go on to something that you don't do with other friends, and that's play a single player PlayStation exclusive title. Louise is back from her walk, so nothing went wrong by the sounds of it. So yeah, we'll move on to Spider-Man if you've nothing else to say. Well,
no.
More specifically, Miles Morales. Now your brain is going to be a bit fresher with a lot of this stuff than mine because it was a while ago, but I do have mostly positive things to say about the game. For anyone who isn't aware what Spider-Man is, Spider-Man is a Marvel superhero. Marvel's Spider-Man for the PlayStation 4 allowed you to play as Spider-Man. You could zip around on a web. You could do things like that a spider can do. It was it was a button basher melee thing, melee combat game. It was an open world action adventure exploration single player linear storyline where you played as Spider-Man. What else can you say about it?
There's like to me, like the genre of Spider-Man is like when you say the Spider-Man game, it's like you know that it's just open world New York City, like going around fighting. Like the free roaming part is the best part about that. Like
I think that was
we'll keep that for the part that we're talking about.
We'll get into it. I think in the original game, the PS4 game that came out 4 years ago now or something, 2018 I think it was 3 years ago. Like that was the one thing they really nailed was that traversal as Spider-Man. That it felt so. It was just like, I want to go here and then I want to swing to here. It was very. It quickly became second nature. I think. Obviously, that's talking about the original and it carried over to Miles Morales. So what Miles Morales is it's another version of Spider-Man. So they created an expansion / free or expansion /
standalone
title. It's somewhere in the middle. Yeah, when the PS5 launched last November, you could play Spider-Man Miles Morales. It was a new story for the PS5 that was about half as long as the original game. So the original Spider-Man probably took you about 16-20 hours to complete. And I think Miles Morales was about 8 to 10 hours. So it wasn't, it was about 3/4. It was the same map, The map was the exact same size, but there was new things to do in it, and you played as a different version of Spider-Man. So the Spider-Man that people will be most familiar with would be Peter Parker, whereas Miles Morales is another identity for Spider-Man from the comic books. And I'll say it straight out off the bat, I much prefer playing as Miles Morales than playing as Peter
100%.
Parker.
Yeah.
He just I don't know what it was. He was just his personality was much warmer. He was much more, I don't know, just enjoyable to play as, and even the cutscenes just brought a bit more joy to them. I don't know. It just was. I much prefer playing as Miles Morales than Peter
And his
Parker.
abilities as well.
It was probably down to the fact that Miles Morales
Venom punch.
compared to Spider-Man is the abilities dialed up to 12. Like he can go invincible. He has the Venom punch. But yeah, we get into that. So yeah, we straight in gameplay. Look, I spoke about the gameplay from Spider-Man. It's the traversal, the movement around the city. Couldn't be improved upon. You felt like you were Spider-Man. It was very reactive. It was very quick. I can't remember if you used one button for one arm, one button for the other arm, or if you just
just the one, and then the double L2 or 2 for the kind of pull you slingshot kind of.
Oh yes, that's what it was. And then the combat was it's the same kind of vein as the Arkham games, in that you
very stylized.
It's one button for your attack, one button for your dodge, one button for your web attacks, one button for counters. So you had it's very simple combat, but it flows very well.
It's a good rhythm. That's one thing I really liked. It's you don't have to think about everything. I know, like, your muscle memory kicks in towards the end of the game, but the fights, they're never too overwhelming. Like, as you get into like the strongholds and stuff like that.
It's the classic only one enemy attacks you at a time. Sort
of
thing.
Yeah.
And it gives you that little flash above their head of, I'm gonna attack you now. Yeah.
Which is like those prompts. Like, I know you like your hard games, but for me, who just likes the normal experience, I enjoy that. Like, it makes you feel like you're directing it a lot more. Like, you're actually traversing through the fight. You're not just like smash. It's kind of like you're moving through it. And the quick time events, I really enjoyed that.
I enjoyed this game more than the original. So in the original game, they used a lot of quick time events during the boss fights.
Yeah.
So a lot of the boss fights kind of just became quick time events where you do a little bit of damage and then you get up close and it's basically a playable cutscene. Whereas this one, I'm trying to think, was it the Rhino fight was one that comes to my mind, where you're kind of in that enclosed area and Rhino's charging at you and you have to dodge out of the way and make him run into a wall. And then you put in a bit of damage and then you rinse and repeat. So I enjoyed the boss fights in this game more because they were less quick time eventy, and the quick time events were kind of saved for
the normal brawls
during cutscenes. Yeah.
But that like,
I'm not a fan of quick time events.
Yeah, that's what, as soon as
unless they're done well.
But that's what I enjoyed, like, when they were involved in like the normal combat scenarios when it wasn't boss fights and stuff. It felt like it flowed a little bit more because it was kind of like you're deep into a fight and then you do it was more so for finishers, like in Destiny, you have your finishers in this as well. And then it went into that whole quick time motion, or when you do a Venom punch and a specialized thing comes up. I really did enjoy that. It gave you that extra couple of seconds to be like, right, on to the next part. And it's like, right, that's half them done, and then combat. There's nothing more, I don't think, to say on that. Like, it's very, like you said, reminiscent of the Arkham games and the first Spider-Man. So which isn't a bad thing. It's one
a
of those
tried and
things.
tested method. It's simplistic, but it works.
Yeah. It appeals to the simpler people like me.
Yeah, but you also had your abilities in that. When you build up your charge meter, your combo meter, and when you get to, I don't know, I'm gonna just say it's times 10. It's less than that, I think. And then you get a Venom ability, and those Venom abilities can end up being really cool, and the camera spins and it looks very cinematic. And that's really, some of that stuff's really cool. And obviously as you level up more, you unlock more abilities, and and you kind of press triangle and square at the same time, and it does a finisher. So yeah, They're always really cool, and especially when playing as Miles Morales, it was um the effects coming off of the abilities were much more. I don't know, saying, "Oh, that was deadly," rather than
Yeah, very eccentric.
yeah.
Yeah,
Whereas Peter Parker's in the original were just kind of like, "Oh, that was cool." The first time you see them, it's like, "Yeah, they're not really special."
yeah.
Yeah, like I
And you'd
think
like to think being sorry, go on.
no, forehead.
I was just saying being on the PS5, I'd say really helped that
Mm,
along a lot because I didn't experience any kind of janky stores,
no, exactly.
especially in high volume areas with massive crowds of ads, and you're doing your finishers and your Venom shit and the AOE stuff going off everywhere. It was smooth.
No, it was.
Yeah.
I didn't have any issues either when I was. I did in one point of it, but I'll get to that in a bit. But
Okay.
for the most part, yeah, it was smooth sailing the whole way through.
And I think when you're
Um,
doing something like that where it is very visually kind of popping off everywhere,
mm,
having that kind of smooth, like another side track back to Avengers, like when you have 2 or 3 enemies plus in your fight when you're throwing off your abilities, it does get it's stuttery and kind of janky and shit like that, and it takes away from that whole I'm a superhero kind of buzz,
mm,
you know,
yeah.
which
Like I
Miles
think
Morales done great.
with the original game, like the original game was what it was an 8 out of 10 game. It was fantastic, no complaints about it. The
Yeah.
combat was great, the traverse was great. So with making this version of the PS5 version, or the whatever you want to call it, the spin-off, standalone, whatever you want to call the Miles Morales, like they had a great basis to work off. They didn't really have to do a whole lot to make another great title, and it was a
Yeah.
great title. And it was the kind of thing that, like, when a new console launches, the PS5 actually wasn't too bad in my opinion. Anyway, like you had Miles Morales, you had Demon Souls, um, Ratchet and Clank came out not long after, so it had some of those exclusive titles. Whereas like the
Mm.
Xbox obviously still hasn't had any come out for it yet. But Miles Morales was that real nice. Oh, I got this new console. I need something shiny to put in and play,
Yeah.
and for it to look really cool and play really cool, and to have one of the games of the generation is Spider Man. I wouldn't say it was one of the most popular
Yeah, it's
exclusive PlayStation titles, and obviously it's helped along because it's Spider Man. But
yeah,
it
the
was a
genre.
very good title. They didn't drop the ball at all on it. So to have that coming to PS5 as a new story, a new standalone story with a new character that people got to know, and to be honest with you, I really hope that Miles Morales comes into the MCU very quickly.
Yeah.
Like I love playing Miles Morales. I want to know more about him.
Yeah.
So to have that come with the PS5 off the bat was great. It was kind of like, oh, I want something new and shiny. Here it is.
Yeah. And especially having that kind of wide reach, being like a Marvel character as well, and like there isn't a lot of superhero games besides the Batman series and your Spider-Mans
That are
and
success, that are
the
stand up
Avengers now,
and
but
done
yeah,
well. Are
yeah.
superhero movies the gaming to movies of movies to games? It should work really well, but it just doesn't for some reason.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what it is? I think with games being made into movies, it's one of those. There's so much content that they
Yeah.
try to add too much in. It's
Yeah.
like Justice League, having the Justice League before singular title movies. Um, but yeah, like as a whole, I really enjoyed that. You knew it wasn't too long. Like you
Yeah.
knew it was.
It went in its
I don't want to
favor.
say DLC because it wasn't to me a DLC because a DLC is just a new part of a game that
Hmm.
the story is going in that direction. Whereas this, you're playing with a new character, you're playing with new abilities. It's not add-ons. It's literally a fresh start.
Yeah.
Same
It's the
area,
same
same
map, but yeah.
environment, yeah,
Yeah.
but it's a whole new direction. But yeah,
And it'll
and
be
I think that
interesting to see where they go with it.
yeah, because like it did end on a post-credit scene as well,
Mm-hmm.
which like as soon as I saw that, I was straight onto Google and I was like, "What's the story like with further announcements and have Insomniac said anything or whatever?" And no,
Not
nothing's been said.
yet. Not for another
Very
week.
another next Thursday.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. It really
Yeah,
wouldn't
it's like
surprise
it's
me. Now it could like It's probably a bit
It could be
early
a
for a
consistent
release.
IP if they wanted
but
to make it.
it's a bit early for a release next year, so maybe it won't be announced at this. But yeah, it'll be announced at some point in the near future, I think.
Like that's
Yeah.
a 3-year cycle. I think is a good.
See, the
a
thing
good
is, like, if
kind of
they
way to do that.
it's not like they have to build a new map. They've got New York
No.
there already, so
Yeah.
like all the assets are there for them. It's just about making the story and doing the expensive cutscenes and the expensive voice actors and
Yeah.
all that nonsense. And then deciding what villain do you want to go with? Are we going to have Miles Morales and Peter Parker in the same game? Because they had it in
Yeah.
this where Peter was there. You had that relationship. So it was kind of like, it reminded me in a weird way of Peter's relationship with Tony Stark
Iron Man.
in the
Yeah,
Avengers movies. It was kind of like, I need my. Where's my mentor?
Tell me what to do.
I can't find my
Yeah.
mentor. I was kind of like, you gotta learn your own. Tears,
Bad guys are here.
tears.
Yeah, I'm on a holiday. Bye.
Yeah. He's kind of like, Peter cannot get to the phone right now. He's too busy sunbathing. Please,
Yeah.
please try again later.
Too busy stalking MJ. That's
Too
what he was
busy.
doing.
I think that was my favorite part of the game, though, was that you played as Miles the whole time. You played as Spider-Man the whole time. Like, when I buy a Spider-Man game, I want to play as Spider-Man. And that's the one
I
thing
mean,
I
you
really...
didn't want to play as the Tinkerer for a
No.
while.
At least she had abilities. But
True.
when in the original game, it's kind of like, why am I playing as MJ for
Yeah, when you're
2 or
walking
3
around,
hours
yeah.
of the game? It was kind of like, I didn't buy this game to play as MJ. And it really it was kind of like, can I get back to Spider-Man, please? Can I...
Yeah,
Okay,
like it's not like The Last of Us
Mm.
where it's a drama. It's the story. This is like an action superhero game. You want to play as
You want to play as a superhero.
the main. Yeah.
Now, I would have had no problem playing as Gwen, where she was Spider Girl, whatever you want to call her. Well, I can't think of what she called. The superhero's called
Spider-Gwen.
Spider Gwen, off the top of my head. But like, that would have been absolutely fine. It's not the fact that I
Yeah.
have to play as a different. It was just like, why am I sneaking around here really slowly? I want to get back to being Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah. Characters. What
characters
did
that
you
flopped.
think?
I really enjoyed the character development of Miles Morales. You found out more about him, what makes his blood flow, what he stands for, what he stands for, the whole family background, who his parents are, who his mom is, what he believes in. I enjoyed all of that. The Tinkerer stuff was pure nonsense. She was a pure nonsense character. It was just kind of like, I got the backstory. Her brother was, full spoilers, her brother was killed in an experiment and she wants revenge. But it was just kind of like, I'm the bad person, so I have to do the bad thing.
Angst.
Yeah, it was angsty, and it was a generic summer block story. Like, we'll touch on the story here and the character stuff, but it was a generic summer blockbuster story. And it was kind of like, I'm the bad person, and I want to blow everything up. I'm doing it for the right reason, but I'm going to do a lot of wrong to do the right thing. So yeah, I have to stop you because you're trying to stop me. And it's kind of like, Miles would be all, well, no, but you're it's Miles' best friend becomes the Tinkerer. She is the Tinkerer, and the face reveal. And I was like, oh no! And yeah, like, I loved all the Miles stuff. His character development was great. Him becoming, because he's probably a few months into being Spider-Man.
Yeah, at that stage,
And he's seen as, he's just the other Spider-Man. Like, it starts in the game where he's walking down the road and the girl is doing graffiti, and she's like, hey, where's the other guy? And then it culminates in, there's two Spider-Men and they're both equals, which there's a lot of politics. There's a lot of political messaging going on there, which, by the way, it was great. It was released in towards the end of last year. There was the Black Lives Matter stuff was big last year, and as it should be, and they had that message in the game where you got the suit, and then there was the Black Lives Matter graffiti, and that was great. But yeah, the Tinkerer stuff was pure shit.
Yeah,
it really was.
Do you know what it was? Like, the whole character on paper was great.
Yeah.
Because like that whole arc of it's your best friend, and like, the part I didn't like was that she just didn't listen to anything. Like you were saying, it's just that whole like, I know what I want to do, I'm doing it. And even after the reveals of like the whole basis is Miles is trying to infiltrate the underground, which are against Roxxon. Miles is against Roxxon as well, but then he finds out the underground is being run by his best friend, childhood best friend, the Tinkerer, Finn. But even after the reveals of each other, and they're like, "Oh my God, you're blah blah blah. I don't want to talk to you," and then it's just like, "Meet me on the clock tower at blah blah blah." That they have like the most basic discussion about like, stop doing what you're doing. It's like, no, I'm doing it because I want to avenge my brother. Blah blah blah. It's like, yeah, but we can do it this way, and it won't be like illegal and shit, and we can actually like benefit the cause. And she's like, no, fuck you, and it starts a fight with you. It's just like, no, come on, just.
That's how all my dates at Clock
It's a
Tower
bad
go.
guy for the sake of being a bad guy, you know, that kind of way. Whereas the parts when they were fighting together, like towards the end when she had her redemption and stuff like that, it's that whole like when she realizes, oh shit, I've gone too far. It's like, I've been trying to tell you this for the last 4 hours.
It was very cheesy and generic.
Shit's gonna explode. Shit's gonna hit the fan if you don't listen to me. No. Like even the fight with the Rhino at the end when he gets his upgraded suit or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're both fighting alongside each other. And I can't remember what it was, but there was one thing where, oh no, do you know, it's, what is it? You're helping each other, and I think you hit her. You stop her because she's going to kill Rhino. That's what it was. And you're like, don't kill him. Like, he's just acting on someone else's behalf, even though it's Rhino. But you stop her from killing him, and then she's like, fuck you, I'm going to kill you now. And it's just like
damn, girl, calm down.
Frustrating. It's frustrating seeing it happen.
I can't remember what other bosses there were. There was obviously Tinkerer was the final boss. Rhino was in there. I can't remember if there was anyone else in the game.
Prowler was in it, but he was on your side. Like he was your
you had his uncle.
His uncle, yeah.
I actually enjoyed that part of it as well. I think that part actually got me by. I was like, oh shit, his uncle's the one been doing all this, and that's why he's been trying to turn him away from doing that. That part I actually found was done really well.
Like I like those added kind of mystery elements where you hear the sound bites of him being like, she'll be at this area, like the kid will be with her, like don't leave the kid alone type thing. So it's like he's the bad guy, but he's like your kind of point of contact to kind of be steer you, like you said, steer you away from the big shit, you know. But yeah, he's really good because he the only other time I've heard of him or seen him was in the Spider-Verse animated movie. Yeah, he was in that as well.
And I think there was a lot of parallels between the Spider-Verse animated movie, which, by the way, if you have not seen Into the Spider-Verse, go fucking watch that shit. It's fantastic. It's absolutely brilliant. It is what Spider-Man should be as a movie, but it's unfortunate that movies are far too expensive to make with real people and do that sort of stuff. But in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Miles Morales is the lead character in that, and I actually thought like there was a lot of parallels between the two, and that like the soundtrack was very similar. It was the same kind of vibes, and we'll get to the soundtrack in a bit, but it was the same kind of vibes from that. It was the same kind of uncertain superhero becomes more confident story arc, and it was great.
Yeah, I like the Prowler, and in the MCU you see Childish Gambino is Aaron Davis in it, so if they go down that route, what's his name?
Donald Glover.
Yeah, Childish Gambino. He is.
Who is, by the way, Aaron Davis?
Aaron Davis
is Miles Morales' uncle.
Yeah, so that was like a nice little Easter egg in Homecoming. Yeah, Homecoming. So if they go down the Miles Morales route of we're introducing this Spider-Man and they keep Gambino on, that'd be savage.
It's just a pity that Donald Glover is probably about 20 years too old at this stage to play Miles, because it would have been the perfect
Miles,
cast.
yeah. But like you could throw him in as the Prowler. Like I think he'd be a fan favorite of that, you know. The other, not bad character, but just bad character was the main villain, the head of Roxxon Corp.
Oh, the cheesy bad guy.
Cheesy bad guy.
The cheesy bad guy that was basically
he was a business tycoon who wants to fucking have his moment.
He's just a sleazy millionaire.
Yeah.
Who is like, oh, I'm doing good. I'm helping people. And it's like, no, you're
Yeah.
not. You're lying in your pocket, you scumbag. Yeah.
Like you knew that from the start when the first scene or the first fight with Rhino, like you're taking him down with Peter Parker, and he's like, "Good job, we'll take it from here. Like we'll bring him back and hand him in to the police." And then you find out that they're experimenting and they're making a suit for him with the tech that they have and stuff.
I think that was the only downside of maybe the story was that it was predictable. There was no real and it was kind of in your face predictable. It was obvious. It was like
they weren't trying to hide it.
Yeah, we're not trying to pretend like I didn't see that coming. Oh no, it was very like even from the beginning. It's kind of like, oh, here's the Tinkerer. Oh no, and then it's like, oh, here's your best. It was clearly gonna be the case.
Yeah,
and I think the story was very. Here's what your story's gonna be. You're gonna pretend to be shocked when it happens. It didn't go against it. I still really enjoyed the game. I think the character development of the main characters was great. The villains was kind of like,
but it says a lot about the gameplay though. Like because you're not so much focused on the negatives of the story, because as a whole, like the pacing and everything of it, which I really enjoyed, because I hate when you're beelining through a story and then you get to that point where it's like, okay, we don't want you to experience this too fast, so go do a few side quests and then come back in about 3 or 4 levels and then continue. I like just delving in, engrossing myself in the story, and this let me do that. Like it took me.
You know what? I'm usually the opposite of you in that. Like I usually like going, right, I'm gonna do a little bit of the story.
You're thorough
to get used to it, and then I'm gonna just do everything else on the map, and then I'll come back in. Whereas with this game, because I'd played the first one and I did everything, I don't know how I was nearly did everything in the original. I was kind of like, you know what? I've done all it before. I couldn't be bothered unlocking absolutely everything. I'm gonna upgrade my abilities all the way, and then I'm gonna just go finish the story. So it was actually a nice just A to B linear story for me. There was no. I did treat this different to other games in that I didn't want to do all the extra added nonsense, which I know you have done, or were planning on doing.
I'm literally finishing off collectibles this afternoon or this evening, which that's one part I like about the unlockables, like the suit for your suits and stuff like that. It's basically play the game and you can have this type thing, collect all the Prowler's voice notes, and you can have his kind of suit.
And what I actually enjoyed about it was that I might like wearing this black suit with red spider on it, but I like the ability that the purple suit gives me, but I don't like how the purple suit looks. But when you unlock a suit, you can attach its ability to any. It's basically transmog. You can put it on any other suit, and I really like doing that.
Yeah. Because personally, not a lot of the suits were nice. I think there's 3 that I like.
3 or 4,
yeah. But it's not this is bad. It's just a personal preference, you know. And one thing I did like for about 5 minutes was when you unlock the Into the Spider-Verse animated suit.
Yeah, for about 5 minutes.
And you're like, what the fuck is happening? It has a mod attached to it, which basically makes everything go slower, and it's more kind of that animated movement feel, which it doesn't fit in with the environment. That was the one thing, because you're in this very realistic setting and you have that animated kind of aura around you, and it's
a pity they couldn't do the whole world in that.
Which would have Into the Spider-Verse game confirmed.
Release it on PC and let Nexus mods do what they'll do.
Mods, yeah. But no, that was to me, that was just a nice little Easter egg. It was a nice little good to have, but not something that I'll use all the time. But yeah.
Sorry, I just got a message from my brother. He's funny. So yeah, that's character and story development. I think you can look at like the gameplay. It's a 10 out of 10 gameplay. Like it's 10 out of 10 gameplay. Whether
you feel like you're Spider-Man.
Yeah, you feel like you're Spider-Man. Whereas the story is more. It's an average story. It's a 7 out of 10 kind of.
It's like that whole.
It's got its pros and its cons.
Yeah.
And that's
like,
fine.
Would you rather amazing gameplay but shit story, or shit gameplay and amazing story? It's like 50-50 is always perfect, but when one outshines the other, you kind of it buffs the whole.
It carries.
Yeah.
I think that's where it like if you're comparing it to other superhero games, that's where it falls down against the first two Arkham games, maybe. In that the first two Arkham games had everything, had an interesting story. You felt like you were Batman. The gameplay was great. It had all the detective stuff, and then it had an amazing villain in Mark Hamill's Joker to prop it up. It was like, yeah, it was fantastic. Mark Hamill literally meant to play Joker.
Yeah. That's another thing I was thinking of in terms of this is our introduction to that character in games. So his next iteration or his next outing could be more fleshed out. Like Batman was Batman in the Arkham games. Like it wasn't like he was only starting off. He wasn't trying to establish himself.
That's true, actually.
So
that's fair.
It would be nice to kind of jump in a couple of years, not a couple of years, but a couple of months down the line, and he's established, and we've established him in the first game.
Now
but
imagine the next one. You can play it all co-op, or one person plays as Peter, one person.
That would be cool.
Or even we bring Spider-Gwen in, and we'll play it as a 3-player fire team. That would be really cool to be able to play it all co-op. Do it, Insomniac, you cowards. So when when they bring it out, I'm gonna do Spider-Man story Sherpas and charge for them, just for what it's worth.
That would be a really interesting direction to go, because you could invite, say, like you said, the 3 characters, 3 friends. It's 3 of yous on the island. It's not solely online. Like this is your dedicated server, and yeah, it's completely free roam between the 3 of yous until missions come in, and then that's. How to improve like longevity for these kind of single player standalones.
Be real cool. I guess we can go into maybe talking about the actual performance of the game, because the game performs so fucking well while looking so fucking good that if the network is there for it, there's absolutely no reason why they couldn't. Like it's just like the first one was no slouch of a game when it launched. Now, if you go and play them side by side, the first one now looks absolutely terrible, but that's because of how good this one looks. Like when you fire up Miles Morales for the first time, you have the option of 60 or 30 or performance or fidelity mode, where you have that stable 60. You've got performance with ray tracing, which is what you should play on for what it's worth. But like when you play, oh yeah, this looks great, but it's just the same world that I was in the other one. And it's only when you actually then go and look at the other one, you go, holy shit.
Yeah.
This looks insane. Like the reflections in the windows, the reflections in the water, the way the light bounces off stuff, off cars or off the ground or in puddles, or like the neon lights in New York above fucking shops and stuff. Like it all looks incredible. And look, the big thing, it could all look great, and it could take half an hour to load. There's no loading screens.
No.
The loading screen is literally like done. You launch it from your desktop on your PlayStation and you're in game within about 3 seconds. When you're zipping through New York as Miles Morales, and this was something, by the way, they showed this off when the PS5 was launched. They were like, this is how fast you can move through New York, and I kind of went, yeah, but that's what we do it in anyway. And it's only when you're doing it, you're like, there is no loading, there is no stuttering. Everything is loaded in. It's the power of the PS5 and the SSD.
Yeah.
It's instant. It's all instant. And it's so exciting to see what they... Like, it's what we've been saying for the last 6 months or whatever. It's like, I can't wait to see what they do with this. I can't wait to see what they do with this game or this game. It's the same with anything. Like, once they get master this technology and games are releasing that are made specifically for this technology, like, they're going to be achieving incredible things.
We've only scratched the surface with it, really, haven't we? Like, just in terms of what they can achieve. And I don't think they have pushed the limits. Well, publicly they haven't with what they can do. And yeah, just like you said, visually, like from the light into the textures was just, for something that has so many moving parts as well. Like, I know you can't go into buildings and stuff like that, but it is a very, like, it's a very dense area. It's not small by any means. Like, it's New York. I know it's not to scale, but just there's so much going on where you should, when you go into those high volume areas like Times Square or whatever, where you have a high buildup of people, cars moving, and then voice lines coming in, it should stutter and it should be jumpy. But I was playing it on performance mode as well, and it was fantastic.
It just doesn't.
Like, yeah. Like, yeah, especially when like you're in these fights in the areas when you're doing your venom punches and your finishers and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot going on the screen, but it's never overwhelming. That was one thing I really liked as well. It's like it wasn't like a fucking UI overload, whereas some games have that, which just added to the feel of it as well.
Yeah, I think for stuff like that looks so beautiful, or it's very graphically stunning, whatever you want to say. Like when they strip back the UI so that you can take in more of the world, it really does add to it.
Yeah,
And
less
the
is
one
more
this,
in those
the- yeah,
instances.
and the one in this is very simplistic. It's very out of the way, and you
Yeah.
can really soak in the atmosphere.
Like even when you have skills to upgrade or more suits to unlock, it tells you once. It's like when I was doing the collectibles for the time capsules. I was like, shit, what number am I on? And you have to actually physically go into the menu because I'd just gotten one of them, and I was like, oh shit, I want to see where the next one is. But as soon as I came out of that instance, went into the menu, and came back out of the menu, the UI had gone. It was just like, there's no need for me to be here anymore. Done. So that kind of stuff, and a lot of it is voice prompts, which I really liked. Whereas like you have your phone to do the neighborhood missions for robberies and stuff like that. It's all holy shit, there's a shop getting robbed, or Genki calls you and he's basically saying like you're near a reported robbery or a hostage situation, and all you get is that marker on your map of the diamond, the red diamond.
It's not too intrusive, yeah.
No, it's not like you fucking just leveled up in Crucible. Here's a fucking UI nightmare.
What? I hate that, man. Like when you rank up in Crucible, or when the game ends and it's just this big yoke across your screen, it's like, I don't want to be seeing this. Like, why is it so in your fucking face? Why can't it just pop up down the bottom of your screen and be semi-transparent and just it's just too much.
Whereas that's one thing, like it's stuff that doesn't get a shout out or appreciated as much as it should do, and it needs to be. Like the quality of life things in it are just they're so good.
It's like when someone does like a really good kind of transition in a fucking highlight reel video, or they have the gunfire going to the rhythm of the music. That sort of stuff, a lot of people don't pick up on it, but unconsciously they appreciate it.
It's satisfying.
It's the same kind of, it doesn't get picked up on. It's just just nice and clean. It makes it look cleaner and feel cleaner.
And then there's the polar opposite where some games just don't show you anything, and it's like, what am I supposed to do? Where am I supposed to go?
Is this a Demon Souls issue you're having, Dill?
I walked in and I died.
You're supposed to. That's how you learn.
That was, but just a quick tangent. That was one thing that just wasn't explained in Demon Souls, where you get into your hub, and until Stephen told me what it was, I didn't even know that was your hub. I just thought, oh, this is where the first mission starts, and I just went through a portal. I didn't know that you can do your mission select. I thought it was going through a story.
I think most people do play through it in that linear way. We go this one, then this one, then this one, then this one.
Yeah, but you can
get
just
something in this one, then you have to go back to the other one. So a lot of the stuff in a Souls game isn't really explained like in your face blatantly. It's kind of given to you in the lore pieces. And that's where you pick up on a lot of it.
10 out of 10. Haven't touched it since.
or you get told by Stephen.
Yeah,
I think like the game performance is great. It's great. The lighting's fantastic. And when I think in some of the fights when they're throwing the purple shit at you, I can't remember what it's called. Like it looks great. But I think the one part that it fell down, and I think I saw your tweet about the end of the game, and I think it might have been a personal thing for me, or it might have been something that was an issue at launch and has been patched since. The final boss fight for me was horrendous. I couldn't see what was going on. Like the camera, and the rest of the game's fine. The rest of the game is fine. I had no issues at all the whole game. In the final fight, the camera had a fucking mind of its own. It was.
Was that in the room with?
Was it? You're in like the office.
The top of the building.
Top of the building, yeah. It was the fucking camera was clipping through walls. It was going into the ceiling.
Oh wow.
She throw whatever her ability, the long range attack she had at me. I couldn't see that coming
Yeah.
half the time. The camera, I'd be in combat, the camera would just spin 90 degrees. It was horrendous for me.
Jesus.
Louise was sitting there listening, she's like, you stop fucking complaining. I was like, I couldn't see anything. I just could not see anything. The camera had a mind of its own. And look, maybe I played the game just when it launched straight away. So you obviously didn't have the same issue. So maybe maybe it was just a problem for either me personally or it was something that has been fixed. But yeah, that final boss fight for me was horrendous.
Like, I know she moved a lot, but I didn't get those instances where she was too far ahead for me to catch up in terms of like eyesight and camera. No, like, I'd love for you to actually go back and play it and see if it's the same. Just if it did get
half the time in that boss fight, I was looking at the exterior wall of the building.
Oh no, that's nasty.
It was horrendous. It was so bad, bad.
Because she has a lot of attacks and she's very frequent as well. So like, you are constantly trying to kind of lock onto her.
Yeah.
Which obviously it doesn't do because it's the last boss fight. But yeah, that's horrible because it does like ruin that kind of element of it because it is a very pacey fight compared to the other ones. Like, it's very reactionary. Like, it reminded me of the videos I've seen of Returnal where when she sends out her AoE stuff, and you have to kind of jump through it, jump left, jump up, jump right type thing. But I enjoy, as a boss fight goes, it was different than the majority of the ones in the game because they were very small bosses that you were fighting. They weren't necessarily big villains. They were just like, here's a new tech armor that we've created. Like, you have to fight this
they kind of
new
used
enemy
it as a tutorial.
Yeah. So her fight, like I loved how it ended as well. Like, it's the whole sending Superman up to space thing.
That's basically
let him blow
what it
up.
was. Yeah.
But, that was cool. I liked her. I liked her redemption in the end. I didn't like her as a character. But the whole it's that typical. It's like, oh, I've gone too far. I have to help stop what I've done now. But it was done well. I enjoyed it. And like the last scene where the community is blocking like not Peter Miles' identity, that like kind of really harped on he's more of a smaller kind of tight knit communal superhero. That's like he has his own corner.
Neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yeah, whereas Peter is more broad.
Yeah.
And no, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I obviously didn't because I couldn't see it. But
yeah, that's annoying.
It was. I think it was quite quick time event heavy as well, which I probably wouldn't have enjoyed. But I just remember my memory of that was just not being able to see anything because the camera was just doing its own thing. It was crazy.
Yeah, there was a few quick time events when it's after that, and you fell down, and the reactor's gone nuclear, and you're walking as you're injured. Yeah.
I hate when they do that in games. When it's like,
I didn't mind it when it was the end.
He's injured and he's walking so slow. I don't mind it when it's like, I have to walk from here to the opposite side of the room. But I remember, was it in Uncharted 3, where you're literally walking through the desert and it's stumbling and he's falling and it's so slow. I'm like, please
you couldn't be holding the analog any more further. Like,
yeah, I hate that shit. It's like, this is not achieving the effect that you wanted to achieve. This is just making me frustrated. Show me this in a cutscene.
Yeah, and I think that's what it was for me, because it was the end of it, and it was like, you are going from point A to B. You're basically trying to get to the reactor from the rubble that you fell into. But yeah, you knew it had an end product. It wasn't just like...
It actually wasn't so bad, it wasn't so bad. Well, it wasn't too badly done in this. I just,
because it went straight into a cutscene then.
Yeah, I just hate that nonsense. Like, why? Destiny 2 did it at the start.
Yeah, when you lose your life.
When you lose your life, I'm kind of like, why am I moving so slowly in a game that's praised for its movement?
But yeah, Finn goes full circle in terms of her brother gets blown up by the first reactor and he saves her, and then she's the one that sees Miles trying to use his Venom ability to
Yeah.
try absorb the energy, which he's done throughout the game in smaller doses, in a few missions. So she sees him doing that, and then she thinks this is her time to redeem herself from causing this. To I'll throw my Star-Lord fucking thing on my side and fly up to space and
It's your
drop
Iron Man
Miles.
moment going through the black hole.
Yeah, going through a black hole. Which I really liked. Like you knew that she was gonna sacrifice herself. Like you knew the direction that was going in once she wakes up and sees that Miles is struggling and shit like that.
Yeah, it was very obvious. It was very cheesy.
Yeah.
Cheesy, teeny movie, whatever you want to
Cheesy
fucking say.
teeny. But yeah,
I still enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's the thing. It didn't take away from my enjoyment of it.
I think with both Spider-Man and Miles Morales, they're both very like I want to say this without sounding negative because it's not been negative. They're both very solid games.
Yeah.
Without being, oh my god, this is the best game I've ever played. But
Yeah.
it's like, do you recommend I play this? Absolutely. It is fun as hell. You play as Spider-Man and it's a well-constructed game with decent stories. Because you're so familiar with Spider-Man, like you know in the first game that, oh no, Dr. Octavius, I wonder who that is.
Yeah.
Like you know you're gonna fight him at some stage. You knew
Yeah.
the guy that ran the what to call it, the church group that he was gonna be the main villain. I can't think of the villain's name now. Like you knew that the Tinkerer was gonna be his mate Finn, whatever it is. Like it's very, you're aware of Spider-Man, you know what's gonna be. But they're both very solid games. They're both like deserve to be praised. They both deserve to be recommended.
Like not everything needs to break ground. Like
not
everything needs to be. Yeah.
Sometimes
you can still have that enjoyable experience. Yeah. And like I said, if this came out every 2 to 3 years, I would buy it for the next 10 years or so.
Yeah,
if this was
100%.
an ongoing series.
Yeah.
Even though
100%.
it could be based in New York, it could be the exact same thing, but here's Spider-Gwen, here's fucking the two of them together, or the three of them together, or here's just new villains. It's like it's a solid, like it's exactly like you said. It's just I really enjoyed my whole experience playing it. It gives you that superhero aesthetic. It gives you the feel of community when you're flying through the city and people are like, hey, it's Spider-Man. I love that kind of stuff. It's just like all the background moving parts that you don't interact with, but it's one of those like I'm on the way to do something. It's like these little things happen along the way are really good. I really enjoyed collecting stuff as well. Like I'm not one for platinuming games or collecting everything. I always have good intentions, but I beeline through the story, and as soon as I finish the story, I'm like, okay, I'm done. That's it. I don't have that. I want to replay it again, or I want to go back and collect stuff or do all the side quests. But this is actually the first one.
How we're like opposites.
Complete opposites, yeah. But this is the first game
I'm the
in a while.
most boring fucking person to watch play a game. Louise hates watching me play a game because like, oh, I have to check this corner, and now I have to check this corner, and she's like, I just want to see the next cutscene, Kev. Please hurry up.
But I think the thing with me is I know there's so much that I want to play that I'm kind of like, right, I'll just get through this. And it's not that I want to rush through the story for the sake of like just saying, oh yeah, it's done, it's played, I completed it. But that's just how I enjoy it. I enjoy cutscene after cutscene and just getting that story in. Whereas this is the first one in a while that's made me come back and do all the collectibles. I want to get all the suits. I want to get the mods unlocked. I want to start on New Game Plus just to unlock the last 3 or 4 abilities in your skill tree. And yeah, like it's like the replayability is there without having end-game content, and this is the one thing that I really enjoyed about the game as well. It's like they didn't try to do that end-game content cycle, which like Avengers has done, and a lot of single-player games try to add that in. Like, not everything needs to be in that direction. Like, let a story be its story. Like, let it have its moment, and you can go back into that universe and continue on and do whatever you want. Not everything needs to be end-game content after. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Which, like,
passy and yeah.
which made the cutscene like that much more. Like the final cutscene, you see Norman Osborn in a lab, and you're looking at it from the perspective of Harry. Was it Harry?
Yeah.
Harry.
Harvey.
Harry. I was thinking of Harvey as well. Was it Harvey or Harry?
Harry Osborn. Harry Osborn. Yeah.
Harry. You're looking at it from his point of view in like a
Forgive
back
us,
to tank
YouTube.
kind of thing in green
Yeah.
liquid. You
I
don't
wonder
know
where
it's
they're
him.
going with this game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's obviously injured or loss of limbs and all that kind of shit, and you see the doctor talking to Norman, and he's saying it's not ready, blah blah blah, and does he? He doesn't kill him, does he?
Can't remember.
He whatever. There's an argument, and then he walks up and he's looking at you in the tank, and he calls you by your name, and he's like, you'll be ready to go soon or something like that, and then it cuts, which leads like Green Goblin is one of the biggest Spidey villains, so like that would to me that would be bring everybody in for that. Don't just let it be Miles's. Don't just let it be Peter's. But it's very open ended for what they
hinted
can do.
at that a lot in the first game. I remember now the collectibles in the first game was you were actually talking about, oh, Harry hasn't returned my calls. Harry hasn't been in school. Oh, yeah. Was Harry not well? Oh, he went to Europe to get So there was a lot of that they didn't hint at the Green Goblin stuff in the first game. So that's obviously where they're going with the next one.
And it'll be a new direction for people who don't read the comics, because like in the Tobey Maguire ones, it's just his best friend his dad dies, or his dad is the Green Goblin, and then he takes over the mantle but doesn't end up really being a bad guy. Then in the Andrew Garfield ones, it's his best friend who what way does he become Green Goblin?
I can't remember. I kind of screw up the Andrew Garfield movies from
he infects himself. Yeah, I think he creates himself. So this, if he's the one that's being controlled by his dad, that'd be a new arc that we'll see, which we won't know how everything goes, but we'll know the culmination of it because it'll be obvious. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the next iteration. Like 100%.
Yeah, hopefully it's not too far away.
Yeah, like realistically, we're already a year deep into Miles, so
fucking crazy.
We might see something next Thursday. They could pull a Thor Ragnarok, God of War Ragnarok, and just give us the title screen, which I'd be more than happy with. Like,
potentially.
Yeah.
I think the last thing that I want to talk about anyway with Miles Morales, something that I really enjoyed was that soundtrack.
Yeah.
The soundtrack was so good, and it had Into the Spider-Verse vibes. There was Jaden Smith had a couple of songs on it. Now I wouldn't be the biggest Jaden Smith fan, but I enjoyed them. They were good, cool songs. But they gave you that feel of Miles Morales. That's what he is. He's into that. I don't know.
And I think if you like that kind of music, it makes it that much better as well. Like it really gives that feel of like you're in the depths of like a neighborhood in like New York. Do you know that kind of way? It's very it's very upbeat. It's very it's urban. I hate using that word, but yeah, it's R&B, hip hop. It's cool. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, the soundtrack was great.
But like, it's like that article. What was it when it came out? And it was the guy who obviously didn't like it, and is like, it's got the something swagger of like a black teen or whatever, and it's just like, what the fuck are you on about?
It's a little bit.
It's just like you obviously
cultural.
Have
it's cultural appropriation. It's cultural appropriation.
But like, I loved that whole aesthetic where it's like you're in a communal neighborhood in the middle of Harlem, so it's. And
I loved how they did it as well. Actually, that when it's at the beginning, it's kind of playing through the headphones in the game, and then he kind of takes the headphones off, and you can still hear it in the background. But the soundtrack's fantastic. If you haven't listened to any of the songs off it, the soundtrack is brilliant. I really enjoyed the soundtrack
because the whole thing is that his uncle is a DJ as well, and they didn't show it, but it was in one scene where he actually is playing like records. But he is aspiring to do shows and stuff like that. So it was very like kind of. There was a lot of instrumental stuff as well, which was really good. Yeah, a lot of like mashups and stuff. I enjoy
And then
it.
there was
I
the
haven't.
because his parents are, where are they from?
I
Is it
want to
Puerto
say Puerto
Rico?
Rico.
I
I
think
want to
it's
say Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. I think his mom's Puerto Rican, so it's got some of that music playing when you're in the apartment as well.
Yeah,
Just it
it's
kind of
very
brings you,
cultural.
yeah, it kind of brings you in, makes you feel like you're part of this world, and I don't know, it just made
Yeah,
it feel more genuine, more genuine.
it helps create the environment that you're in,
Yeah,
which
yeah, it's great,
yeah, yeah.
great. Um, yeah, are there any negatives for you? Did you anything you didn't like about it? I've had my whinge about that final boss fight, and quick time events and that. But yeah,
One thing I would have liked to see more of was Genki, his best friend,
mm,
his guy in the chair. Because after, like, with the current Tom
he
Holland
was
Spider
bigger in the
Man,
first one, wasn't he? He was
I never
more.
finished the
No
first one.
shit. Sorry, I'm getting confused. Never mind. I'm getting confused with the Tom Holland movies. Ignore
Yeah,
me.
he's very reminiscent of fucking his buddy in that. I can't remember his
I
name.
can't remember his name either.
No, but yeah, I would have liked him. He's in a few cutscenes at the start with his mom and stuff like that, and he wasn't in any kind of in-game stuff. Like he wasn't really in the culmination of the story. I don't know. It's just one of those things that it would have
Ned
been
is the
cool
name
to
in.
Ned. That's it. Yeah, well, I just think it would have been cool to have a little bit more of him in it. I'd like to know more about the Prowler, like you were saying about playing as different characters. Hey, don't like it unless like if they had abilities or whatever. I think playing as Prowler for a mission would have been cool if you had like limited abilities because of who he is. Um, it would have been cool, but yeah, I can't really apart from the story being kind of predictable and stuff like that. But like I was saying, it didn't take away from it because the gameplay was fantastic. Um, yes, as a whole, like I really recommend it. Like it was the first not ground. I hate the saying groundbreaking all the time, but after Ratchet and Clank, it was the real next
It was the
PS5
first
game that
next
really
gen game.
felt
Yeah,
next gen. Yeah,
it was the first next
and
gen game. Yeah.
like you were saying, when you look at it side by side with the PS4 version of the original Spider-Man that came out 3 or 4 years ago, it hasn't got a patch on it. Like
It really
how it
doesn't.
ran, how it felt, just it really created that whole essence of this is a next gen game.
Like the
You
the
know?
textures. If you look at the original PS4 one, the textures look very flat, and like the reflections are they're just blurry, kind of. It's like someone just got a paintbrush and just flicked them on.
Yeah,
Whereas in
it's
this,
there,
it's
but it's
very,
not
it's
there.
you. Yeah, it's there. It's very blurry. It's very, I don't know, drab. Very, I don't know. It doesn't look real or lived in. Whereas this looks texture. The textures pop. Like you can
Yeah,
see the reflections are phenomenal. Like if you like perch yourself up on a side of a building and look in a window, you can see exactly what's behind you as it is, and it's just
yeah,
like, wow, this is incredible. I
yeah.
think that's where like when you look at games now compared to last gen, which is weird calling PS4 last gen, like graphics can't get much better. They've kind of got to a stage where they can't push
We've
graphical.
achieved realistic
Yeah, they've
looks. Yeah,
achieved very realistic looking characters and worlds. Whereas what's really being pushed now is how they use light in games, and
yeah,
it's manifesting light to do what you want it to do. It's the way reflections work. It's the way light bounces off in glass, the way light bounces off the ground or off ceramic floors or in puddles. And that's where it's really been pushed. I think the first one that really started to push that would have been Control, would have been the first one that I can think of that had ray tracing on it. And
oh yeah,
ray tracing, like, I saw someone on Facebook not that long ago saying, "Oh, ray tracing it's a zing word. It's not real. Blah blah blah." No, ray tracing is incredible, and when you see it in this and compare it to Spider-Man from 2018, I'm gonna say it's like the way the reflections work. It's just like, wow, this is like real life. It's better than real life in some situations.
yeah,
And like the likes of Control did it. Cyberpunk's looks incredible when you look at it. Demon Souls is another next gen game. Like the way light works, and that's fantastic. Returnal's ray tracing is just fucking wow. So you're seeing the way it's working. Next gen is all about ray tracing and light. It's all about light,
but it
and
really does flesh out the environment and, like I
makes it feel
said,
bigger. it makes it feel bigger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it gives more life to
Yeah.
things, and like it doesn't give it that dead flat look. Like it's actually it takes up a space in that area. And like you said, like there's only so much more they can do with like graphics to make faces look more realistic and stuff. So you've achieved that. So let's look at everything around the faces,
The
you know, that kind of
environments,
way.
yeah.
Yeah. Or like even in this, like you have airplanes going around, you have the sun rising and setting. Like it's as it plays with each other, it makes it feel lived in. It makes it feel real, and
And
that
that's
just
something you just actually mentioned it there. It has the sun rising and setting in it. And if you
yeah,
actually go into the photo mode on the game, you can change the position of the sun. And when you move the sun, the way the shadows are moves.
the light
And the way
changes.
the light changes directly impacted from where the sun's position is. And the fact that like it's incredible. Like the tech I don't know how it works. I'm an armchair
Yeah.
developer at the best of times, but whatever technology does that, or whatever genius came up with that technology that did that, it's incredible.
great.
You probably look at it's probably actually really simple to do, but to me it
Yeah.
blows my mind.
Yeah,
And
if you're not in that kind of frame of thinking,
yeah,
or you're not in that kind of industry, it's as an outsider, these things are. It sounds convoluted, but it's probably the most basic thing.
mhm.
But yeah, like
So our recommendations then. I think we've both kind of
10,
said it
10 out
already.
10 out of 10. I think it's a staple PS5 game
Mm.
to me. Like it's not one of those, oh, you might like this if you're into superhero games, or like Ratchet and Clank. If you like animated games, you like that. Demon Souls, if you like hard games, you like that. I think it's a good all rounder that yeah.
If you
It's
like hard games,
if you like
you'll
hard
like it.
games and crying. Um but like it has the fantasy element as well in Demon Souls, you know, and not a lot of people are into that. But I think with Spider-Man, it's a very wide kind of demographic in that
Yeah.
if you like superheroes, you'll like this. If you like action adventure, you'll like this. If you like open world, you'll like this. You know, it hits a lot of points. Um, and like visually, I don't think there's any more we could say on it. Like it's next gen. Like it really feels. It feels like you're there. It feels like a living environment. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? It's just a lot of depth in it. Without being too, you have to go look for that. I don't know how to say that in a different way. And story wise, length to me is perfect. Like not everything needs to be super long. A few add-ons would, yeah, probably be nice because I really did enjoy the game. So it's that whole I like this, I want more kind of feel.
Yeah.
But yeah, as a 1.5 DLC expansion esque kind of standalone, whatever you want to call it, it was, yeah, I loved it. Fantastic.
Yeah,
What about
I
you?
think like I'd be more or less along the same lines as you. I would recommend it. I highly recommend it. Like if you played the first one as well. If you haven't played the first one, I'd recommend it even more because you get to play that with the PS5 graphics and the PS5 upgrades, and you get
Yeah.
2 games for the price of 1.5. Like yeah, look, it's not something that I'm gonna say it's the best game I've ever played. It's not. It's solid. It's a solid 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10. It's you could recommend it to somebody, anybody that plays computer games, and they'll come back happy. It's not one of those you put it in and you go, oh, I hate this. This is shit because it's not. No, it's a solid game. It looks incredible. It plays great. The story's good, average to good. It's fine. Um,
It
I
fits.
think it fits. Yeah, I think I would have liked it to be a bit longer. An extra 3 or 4 hours or 3 or 4 missions would have been great. However, they were very upfront before it came out about this is not as long as the first game. It's
Yeah.
about half as long as it, or it's whatever. It's not as long. They were very upfront about it, which is fine. So I expected it to be shorter. Um, it was maybe a little bit shorter than I had told myself it would be, but that didn't detract from the game at all. It was still a very enjoyable experience.
Mm.
I didn't like the end boss. I thought the end boss for me personally was absolute fucking trash. Now that could have been due to a bug or due to just something on the day. It just went weird. But everything else before that, I would highly recommend. So yeah, the pros would be great character, a great world, a beautiful world, um, good game mechanics, good movement, soundtrack's fantastic. I don't know, Miles is a pro by himself because he's such a enjoyable character to play as and to watching cutscenes. The cons would be maybe, I don't know, the main villain was a bit naff.
Yeah.
But it was setting up something. It couldn't be like, oh, you're taking on the biggest, baddest villain in the MCU 3 months into the job of being a new Spider-Man. So it had to be starting off somewhere, and because it's Miles, it was started off a little small-ish, but it was still good. I don't know. I would recommend it. If you haven't played it, go play it. It's probably on sale. If it's not on sale, your local game or GameStop probably have it pre-owned.
Yeah.
If you can get it pre-owned, I don't know if the code works, but yeah, look, it's a good game. It was
solid.
It was the first next gen game.
Yeah.
And it showed where it showed the foundations of where next gen games can go. You look at it compared to, say, Returnal, which has just come out, whatever, 6 months after it, and the way lighting works in that, and the way the loading works in that, it shows where they can go with this. But Miles Morales laid the foundations for that for me, and that, well, there's no load times. I can zip through New York at the speed of fucking light and have no stuttering or no nothing. Yeah, it was great. I really enjoyed my time in it, and I want more.
Yeah. And hopefully, like you said, it's hopefully not too far away, because it's been a year. We have a big showcase next week, which got dropped on us today.
Yeah,
so.
we can talk about that for a few minutes if you want. We haven't gone
God
too
of
long.
War.
Yeah, what? Okay, we'll split this up. We'll cover this for a few minutes. What do you think we'll see? What do you hope we'll see? And what is something that you would love to see?
Okay.
And whether that is likely or unlikely is up to you to decide. So what's the one thing you think we'll see?
I think I'm bringing up my my Google Sheets of the upcoming releases. God of War.
I think God of War.
This is their Game Fest. This is their.
I don't know if it's quite their Game Fest because it's only 40 minutes long. It's not like a big 2-hour thing.
Yeah,
it is only 40 minutes long. I think we're gonna have.
It doesn't need to be, yeah.
But I think we'll have one now in September, and we might have another one in 6 weeks or 8 weeks time. I think they're gonna do a few of these coming up to Christmas.
But here's the introduction. Then we'll show you gameplay or features or something like that.
I think 100% God of War Ragnarok is going to be shown. 100%. And my reason for that is in the blog post for previous showcases or whatever, they have specifically said God of War and Horizon will not be making an appearance at this. In this one,
naming it,
in this one they said, point to note, PSVR 2 or whatever will not be shown at this. They didn't mention God of War. So God of War is 100% making an appearance at this. 100%. It's getting a gameplay trailer and possibly a release date.
Like, even if we didn't get a gameplay 100%. Trailer, I wouldn't be upset. If we got
even just a cinematic trailer.
I think, just to show the direction that it's going in. I think that just would, like you said, create more spark about it, and then in 6 weeks' time, give us the bite of gameplay.
Yeah, I think 100%.
Do you think it's gonna be? Do you think it's gonna be all first party?
No, I think it will be mostly first party. But I think there will be some third-party stuff thrown in. Or even, like, second-party stuff. So, like, it's exclusive to PlayStation, but it's not first-party.
Yeah.
The likes of Returnal with Housemarque was kind of second-party stuff. I think we might get a couple of third-party things. What do you call it? Borderlands people... Gearbox.
Just going to say, that talked about a trailer coming out.
Yeah. Gearbox teased Tiny Tina's Wonderland, is it? Or whatever it's called. That was, they said that there's a trailer coming soon or really soon. So it's probably hinting that that's making an appearance next week. And I know Gearbox going to have a good relationship with Sony as far as I'm aware. They have, Godfall came out as a PS console exclusive, I think. And that's made by Gearbox.
Yeah.
or published by Gearbox. So I think that's probably gonna make an appearance.
Forspoken is another one that I think we
Yeah,
should see more of. I think we're due
hopefully.
that because we only got a very minimal snippet, and that
It
was
depends how far out it is, I guess. I think Horizon will probably get another trailer. Like, they'll show
because
it.
we've seen a lot of Horizon already.
We
haven't
have,
we? Like, we
and
saw
we
it.
have a release date, and we have the pre-orders.
Yeah.
But I think they'll show something for Horizon, just to kind of build a little bit more hype for
just to keep it relevant.
To drive pre-orders.
Yeah.
Because
they'll harp on that.
Collectors?
200 quid, man. Like,
or 270.
I know games are going up in price, but collector's editions, when they used to be 120 quid, like, that was enough. Like, you had your regular edition for like 60 quid, your special edition for like 80, 90, and then 120 for your
It depends what was in it. Like, I'm not gonna get one. I
like the statue.
Yeah, but it's. I think it's cool, but it's not an oh my god, I need that for me.
Yeah. Like, you get the small Aloy.
That's what ruins it for me.
It literally looks like something that you got out of Games Workshop.
Yeah, I wish that had been like part of the bigger model.
Yeah, if it was her fighting the mammoth or whatever it is. But yeah, it looks cool. Like, as far as statues go, there's nothing bad about it. It's just it doesn't scream collectible statue to me.
I don't really like how there's two different statues.
Yeah, there's one that looks very.
Yeah, so there's the basic one, then there's the armored one, or whatever you want to say. You get more in it. I don't like that, but that's just me.
Because I noticed the enhanced collector's edition has added, like, you get the focus with it and stuff like that. Yeah.
One thing I didn't like was, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of discourse about this, was if you buy the base version of the game, or the digital deluxe version of the game for PS4, you can't play it. You can play it on a PS5, but you don't have access to the PS5 version of the game.
Okay.
The only way you get a free upgrade to PS5 from PS4 is by buying either of the two big collector's editions, which is a bit.
Do you think that's to try to push PS5 sales?
What now? Like, I don't think they can push PS5 sales anymore.
Because there's no PS5s.
Yeah. So it's a little bit.
Yeah. It's in that awkward stage where it's like, we want to focus this, but we can't because there's not.
Like, unless it does like, I know PS5 games are 10 quid more expensive than PS4 games. So if there's a €10 PS5 upgrade, I can accept that because they do cost more. You can't say, buy the PS4 version, free upgrade. I get it if, I don't know, but I just don't. It's like, here's a free upgrade for €270.
Yeah. If the capability is there, why not just make it as accessible for more people?
I know it's probably because the PS5 version is more expensive and they don't want people going and buying the PS4 version and then just thrown into their PS5 on day one.
Yeah, and then saying, haha, fuck you.
Could have all been solved by making it next gen only, but anyway.
Yep, that's another story. Gotham Knights and
I'd say some of that.
Suicide. I don't think they're going to be shown because Fandom got announced today.
I was about to say that. Yeah, that probably saved them for that.
To me, that sounds like it's going to be bigger than last year's. Like last year, we got the Batman.
It was pretty big last year, in fairness.
It was cool. Mm-hmm. It was really cool.
That's the end of October, around the 26th, is it?
End of October, yeah. I think Forspoken is another big one.
I hope
that we might see
that gets shown off, but I don't think it will.
And Hogwarts Legacy.
Yeah.
I still think it's too early. Well, no, it was supposed to release this year, so...
See, that could be a Fandom as well, because it's Warner Brothers. It could be.
Yeah, that's a good one, actually.
It probably won't be. It'll probably be shown somewhere, but... Like, that's due to come out next year anyway, so...
Yeah. We haven't got a date. Like, that was supposed to be this year, so...
Yeah.
The fundamentals are there. It's... I know... I don't know a lot about the industry, and if something's ready and then they're doing... extras or they have to change a lot of things. Can't wait for that, man. That's That's gonna be no life. That's gonna be platinum. Yeah, if it's done right, I hope it
it's
is.
good.
Yeah, I
Anything
hope
you
it
want to see?
feels. Looking at my list here, I think we've seen a lot of Kenna. Like we had the dev play along as well.
Yeah.
We've
I
seen
think we might get a release, we might get a quick trailer for that
because
because
it's out at the end of the month, the 26th, is it?
it's out this month.
Something
Yeah,
like that.
20 end
Yeah.
of this month. So like, I think we might get just a quick release gameplay
Refresher on it.
cinematic trailer just to drive up a few sales on that because it is
Story trailer.
it is a PlayStation console exclusive. It's coming to the
Yeah.
Epic Game Store, but I think we might get just a quick trailer on that. It would make sense because it is stuff that's coming out as well towards the end of this year. So I'd say we'll probably see something on that.
Yeah.
One thing I'd like to see is something. What was I gonna say? Fuck. Tell me you have to say something. Your brain just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go. Nope.
One thing I want to maybe see. It's gone out of my head. Completely just gone out of my head. What I was gonna say.
Are we talking AAA big release?
Oh yeah.
Next
big,
year.
Big,
Yeah.
Big one. I can't remember what I was gonna say.
Gollum, I think, is a bit too far out.
Yeah. See, I had no interest in that because I thought it looked like hot shit.
The leaked footage, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Outer Worlds 2. No, we saw a bit of that, and that's far out as well. Guardians, we
Xbox
had a
though,
deep
isn't it?
dive. Outer Worlds, no, that should be.
Yeah, but it's what you call it. It's
one of their publishers.
Obsidian. Yeah, I think
or developers. Sorry.
Yeah, it's not Xbox exclusive, but it's an Xbox friendly developer.
I think we could get expansions as well. Announcement of expansions for current titles that are already out.
I think something. Sorry, what?
No, just thinking like Assassin's Creed or something they might talk about.
Maybe.
I know it's Ubisoft, but we might get more on that seasonal model that they're doing. Godfall and Avengers could get a talk in saying their work. I know Avengers just had a release with Black Panther, but they could talk about the next iteration or if this is the last one. I'm not sure.
It's come back to me.
Go for it.
One thing I hope we see more of is Final Fantasy 16. We got it was like a gameplay / cinematic trailer. When was that? Was with the console launch before that? I think it was a long time ago now. So I would really hope, and I don't think it's too unrealistic to maybe get a lot more details on Final Fantasy 16 because that is a PS exclusive or a PS console exclusive anyway for quite a while. So I'm hoping we see more on that because I'm really excited for that game. Maybe a release date for that would be really nice, even if it was a kind of 2022 thing. But
is it optimistic for release soon, or is it? Just rumors?
It looked fairly far along. My wish would be to get part 2 a remake part 2, something about that. Even a title screen for that would be fantastic. But again, I don't think we're getting about Final Fantasy 7 part 2. Not yet.
Yeah. Like you said, with the gap.
I think that they'll go through the whole cycle of here's Final Fantasy 16, here's the cinematic trailer, here's a gameplay, here's your release date, and then that game will be nearly at release, and then we'll probably hear more about remake part 2. I think it's a bit away. One thing we might see is they acquired that studio to port PC games for them. We might see word on what that company is working on. Uncharted 4 is supposed to be coming to PC. That could be announced.
The likes of Bloodborne, maybe.
Even if it was just here's what we acquired, here's what games they're working on.
Yeah.
We're gonna get Bloodborne PC. I don't know what else. The Last of Us on PC.
The PlayStation Hits collection, basically. Yeah.
God of War on PC. That sort of stuff like that. Like they could just say, here's what they're working on. Because they didn't acquire them that long ago, so it's probably early doors. But we'll see.
Well, it's like communication goes a long way. Like we were just saying about Miles Morales, the way they told us that it's gonna be half the length of
Yeah.
the original game, and there wasn't backlash. There wasn't any kind of what the fuck, they
People
only
like
released like
honesty.
a half cooked game, and
Yeah,
there
people
was
like
none of that,
honesty.
and that
Yeah.
just puts that to the side.
Like
So, like
even
you said, if,
today, I saw fucking CD Projekt Red getting praised today because they were honest.
yeah,
They didn't
yeah,
lie. They didn't try to hide up the truth. It's
yeah,
like you
and
said, just a
it
bit of
does.
transparency.
So even if it's like we're doing this in the background, you
Yeah.
won't see it for another year, maybe
That's
2 years, but
Yeah.
it's happening, and it nullifies all those questions then of like what's
Mm.
like, is this happening or is it not happening? Just
Yeah.
bit of transparency.
Bit of transparency goes a long way.
I think it's
Speaking
gonna
of
be the God of War
CDPR
conference.
though, yeah, I think God of War's the big one,
The highlight.
100%. But yeah, speaking of CDPR, did you see they're hiring a few modders off Nexus mods? I think they've hired
Are
4
they?
or 5 of them to work for CDPR on Cyberpunk just to help. I'm not gonna say fix the game because I don't think the game is necessarily broken,
But just improve performance and stuff.
improve polish of the game, improve things in the game, give direction of where would you like to see it go. So
I love
that's
when you see
cool.
hobbyists like that
Yeah.
get like invited to the industry and stuff, like
some
to
things that like
to
a lot of
better.
modders do incredible things. They
Yeah,
really
and-
do. They're so skilled and talented.
But you know what it is? It's like it's not taking the Nintendo approach where it's like you're doing something different to our game. We
Yeah.
didn't release it like that. We don't like that, so
Strip
we're gonna
down.
send you a
Yeah.
fucking cease and desist.
Yeah.
Whereas this is like
Embrace it.
they have the mentality that it's like we're on the same level as you.
Mm.
We're not being the hierarchy to be like, no, you're not allowed to do that. We're like, oh, you can do that. Can you show us how to like utilize
Like, could you
that?
imagine Game Freak
Yeah.
went to the guys who made Temtem and said, "Right,
Yeah.
we see what you're doing. They're great
Let's
ideas.
collaborate."
Let's collaborate. Let's give us your ideas. It could make for much better things." Like I saw there was a game shown at what you call it, opening night live last week. It was it was a cartoony game as a kid, and it was a Pokemon ripoff, but it was
Okay.
in this kind of realistic yet cartoony looking world. And I was like, this is what Pokemon should look like now.
Yeah.
This is what it should look like. This isn't, and it's not too much to ask for. It wasn't
No.
this incredible, I don't know, fucking Battlefield 6 looking game. It was still cartoony. It was still arty.
But more
but
realistic.
it looked way better than what
Yeah.
Arceus is looking like. Arceus, look, I'm excited for it. I'm gonna play the shit.
It looks janky as
Yeah, I'm gonna
fuck,
play the
though.
shit out of it, but it's still like it could still be more, and
Yeah.
and instead of going cease and desist or no, we're shutting up shop, we're not working with anybody.
Yeah.
They should have embraced that. Give jobs to fresh ideas.
Yeah.
I don't work for Nintendo, so it doesn't
They
matter.
can make so much money off it as well.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
That's the crazy thing. Yeah, I think there's been rumors for quite a while about a Silent Hill remake been done by Bluepoint, which will be a PS
Steven's
exclusive.
wetting himself right now.
Yeah. Like there's been stuff hinted for a while about that, and there's been no showcases since all that stuff kind of took off, so that could be a potential shown.
Yeah.
But again, we don't know.
Yeah.
There could be
like-
loads. They could announce a Metal Gear Solid remake for all we know. That's been rumored for a long time as well. Again,
That's the thing. Like from what we've seen over like Summer Games Fest and stuff like that, and announcements, all the big announcements, we know they're not
Yeah.
coming in the next like 6 to
Yeah.
12 months. Like,
And I think that's the thing. I think looking at things that could be announced, it's probably very unlikely.
you just have to be
that's
realistic about it.
Yeah, I think you can get excited and kind of put the spin foil hat on, but if you look at what's been announced for the rest of this year, there's been no, oh my god, I can't believe they're doing this, because I imagine they're saving those sort of announcements for crowd-filled venues next year.
Yeah, that would create a lot more
Yeah.
hype than a virtual audience.
An E3 been fully attended, hopefully, and I think a lot of those, they're 2 or 3 years away. Announcements will be saved for that.
And they'll be even better because by that time they'll be a year and a half to 2 years away.
Yeah.
You know?
So what's your dream announcement? My dream announcement is obviously something to do with Final Fantasy VII. What would you love to see announced that is probably not going to happen?
No, I think mine is optimistic enough is Hogwarts Legacy. I want to see gameplay for that. Like we've seen the.
I'd love to see like.
I don't want to say cinematic. I want to say it's like in-game render cinematic. We've seen that, so I want to see the gameplay. I want to see.
They showed off little snippets of gameplay, but I'd like to see an extended gameplay sequence.
Yeah, a hands-on. Other than that, I just think God of War. Which it is happening. We know it's happening.
When?
Yeah. I think maybe summer next year, the earliest, or holiday.
When did God of War come out? What?
God of War was a summer game. I want to say May.
That came out in 2018. Holy shit. April. So yeah, you're not wrong.
April. Yeah.
I think a May release is probably optimistic, but not unrealistic.
Yeah, I think that's without any issues from here to then going forward, which
I think
with everything being pushed back, it's not realistic at all.
I think September is probably September 2022. Like Horizon is February. Horizon's February, so that does leave May open. April, May gets left open there. The Last of Us came out in June, so they're not afraid to put those big hitters in the middle of the summer. So yeah, I think June, July. No, games don't release in July, but May, June, maybe.
That's very optimistic.
I think September. I think September is probably quite likely.
And
that's taking into consideration the 6-month delay that every game kind of has because of this.
But that's the thing now. I think games don't want to keep announcing that it's pushed back. Like look at fucking the Venom movie. That's been pushed back twice in 2 weeks.
Because people start getting worried that it's a Cyberpunk kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like
nobody wants to release it. Unfinished.
And if you look at it, like Cyberpunk wasn't even delayed that much in comparison to a lot of other things being delayed. That was that went from April to December. Like it's not massive. Like there's some stuff gets delayed 2-3 years. So
when it's within the same year, I think it's reasonable.
Yeah.
Because to me, when I hear 2022, like
it doesn't feel like it's
started.
3 fucking months away. It's crazy.
Exactly, and we're near the end of 2021.
It's crazy.
Well, you're 3/4 of the way through, but it's just that daunting number that you're like 2022 for fuck's sake. Like
it's ages away. No, it's
but
literally like it's winter. It's nearly winter again.
Yeah.
Like we've gone through the Kev not wearing hoodies on the podcast anymore. The Kev's back in hoodies again. So yeah.
There's nothing else really on my list that I think would be kind of shiners.
No. Not PlayStation wise. Like a lot of the stuff that
a lot of
I'm
Xbox
really looking forward to is Xbox stuff. And they're all quite a ways away still. So,
yeah. We'll get the indie games as well thrown in there to flesh it out. Which in some Games Fest there was a lot of indie games that caught my attention.
You're becoming a more mature gamer, Dill.
I know. I'll have to get my what's it called, Steam Deck to play the. See, that's the thing. It's if I had the capability to play these games on the Switch, like Tunic and fucking Lost in Random, like they look like great portable games, but you can play them on Steam. But I don't like playing them kind of games on Steam. I like playing those games like handheld, you know. But yeah, but I am a AAA shield, so I don't really get excited about, and it's just a personal preference. That's all. But
we all have them.
Yeah, if they're on the same caliber as what we saw at Summer Games Fest and Xbox, pen me curious.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that next week. It's late
Thursday,
enough,
isn't
it? Yeah, Thursday, but I am looking forward to sitting down and watching that. I love a showcase. Like, it's like when you were younger and you had the Argus or the Smiths catalog coming up to Christmas.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I want that one, and I want that one, and then you cut out the pictures and you stick it down and you send it to Santa Claus, and then it magically appears under your fucking Christmas tree on Christmas Day.
Magic.
Showcases are like that for me, but it's like, oh, I like the look of that game, and I like the look of that game. That game looks absolute shit. I'm not gonna get that. Oh, I like the look of that one. And it's like opening up a catalog of games, and just I love a showcase. Shamelessly,
I love making that list and putting it together. Yeah. That it's like,
and I'd love to go to one of them. I'd love to go to an E3 or something like that, just to be in the crowd at one of these.
for the announcements.
It'd be great.
I was just looking at my roster there. I'm up at 4 a.m. on Thursday and Friday, so
So you won't be watching.
I will not be watching. I'll be getting the tweets when I wake up.
Just get like a list of trailers.
Yeah.
I'll send you a list of trailers to watch. I'm
No,
nice like that.
unless they want to do a make a wish and give it to me at 2 o'clock in the day, I will not be
It's
watching.
late. I actually have it here. I'm gonna just swap.
It's
over
like a
now
10
to
o'clock
bring
start,
it
is it?
up. So PlayStation Showcase is on Thursday, September 9th, 2021 at 9 p.m. BST, which is what, British summertime?
Yeah, British Standard Time.
British Standard or summertime? Anyway, it's 9
Standard.
p.m. our time
Yeah.
for 40 minutes. That's up there on screen for people to look at, and yeah, I had that ready to go.
I will be asleep.
You'll be asleep.
Sorry.
If there's anything really cool, I'll send it to you. Yeah,
that'd
there's
be
other
nice.
bits of news this week. There was Xbox had their, not Xbox, sorry, I said that in the shower earlier. I was like, don't say Xbox. Fucking opening that live. Jeff Keighley had his showcase. There's a new Saints Row game coming. Other new, there's been quite a bit of news this week that I've been kind of.
We're getting a Borderlands Tiny
glancing
Tina
over.
spin-off
Yeah.
trailer soon. That's
There
another
was
big
something
one.
else. Activision's falling apart. We all know that. There was something else that I wanted to say in terms of news. That was something that was shown off. I was like, that's really cool. Yeah,
Witch
I can't
Queen.
remember. Well, Witch Queen. We got the big Witch Queen drop. We haven't had the TWAB yet. The TWAB's late tonight, is it?
I think we'd be getting it very sporadically over the last few weeks.
Yeah, it's late tonight, so it's not out yet. Yeah, there was something announced in games that was kind of cool.
There's no dates for Witcher or Cyberpunk
No.
as of this.
Well, that's CDPR kind of said. They were asked when is the next gen upgrades coming, and they said, but we don't want to tell you until we know, which is fair.
Which, yeah, I understand, but for, like The Witcher, it's like they said it's coming out this year, and like
Both
this
of them
year
are
is
coming.
nearly finished. Like we have only 3-4 months left.
Yeah, both of them are coming. They kind of said second half of the year, so they've got a bit of time left.
Yeah,
they're free upgrades. They're just patches, really.
Yeah.
No, there was something that I saw in the news that I thought was really cool, and now I can't remember what it was. So rip, I guess. I could try pull up Skill Up's weekly news video real quick and see if he has it in the in the description, which he does not. Oh, he does. Death Stranding 2 was basically confirmed by Norman Reedus.
Yeah.
Don't think he was supposed to, but he did.
But Kojima went on a series of tweets over the last 2 days. Did you see that? Where
Kojima's tweets are just incoherent at times.
No, but this was very direct in saying that he stated he wants to work with Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, I saw
on a project.
Yeah, I saw that.
And he talked to Mads Mikkelsen about not spin-offs, but furthering him in his game. Yeah, like that. With the rate that he releases games, though, like that's not happening for another 10 years. But
no,
yeah.
I think the other thing I saw was that if you're under the age of 16 in China, you only get 3 hours of gameplay a week.
Yeah.
Which I'm glad I don't live in China. Or I'm under the age of 16. But yeah,
that's like what's that, 1 hour on weekends?
It's 1 hour Friday, 1 hour Saturday, 1 hour Sunday. There's being restrictive and then there's being restrictive. But
yeah.
I have opinions on that, and people don't like talking politics, so I'm not going to bring it up.
Everyone in China just moved to Japan.
Like, yeah, it's
where there's gaming culture.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
You'll be praised for playing more.
Like, you look at if that was in Europe or if that was in America, people would get around it, but in communist-run countries, it's a bit. They're very severe. It's much more difficult. So.
Yeah,
Rip China's professional gaming teams.
Crazy.
That's whatever. What can you do?
Yeah.
Can you say? Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I think that was really it for gaming news that I saw.
Yeah, I can't see. There's nothing really
GDPR
else.
hard modders, but I spoke about that already. Sky Oblivion's been getting more updates, which is great, and I can't wait for that to come out. But yeah,
No Man's Sky had a big release this
it
week as
had.
well.
The free game on Epic this week is kind of it's nothing really to write home about. For me anyway, it's some kind of weird indie.
Is it as bad as
cartoony
Midnight
game.
Suns being a fucking turn-based card game?
No, it's not. I don't know what the free game on PS Plus is for September.
PS Plus for September is Overcooked is one of them. And that is all I remember because that's the PS5 one.
Bringing it up here now. PlayStation Plus. Hunters Arena Legends. Plants vs Zombies. Not that there was already. Oh,
That's last month. Predator Hunting Grounds, is that last month or this month?
The PS app's been very awkward for me right now. Oh, it just
So we have
they just haven't been updated yet. Sorry, they're not out yet. What
it's
are the new
IO
ones?
Interactive's Hitman 2 and
Ooh,
Ilphonic's
that's not a
Predator
bad one.
Hunting Grounds for PS4.
That's not a
and
bad one.
Overcooked for PS5.
Hitman.
Hitman 2
Yeah,
and Hunting Grounds. What was Hunting Grounds in terms of gameplay? Like, was it or genre?
I think it's like 4v or 5v1. One person plays.
So it's a multiplayer
Predator.
kind of thing.
Yeah, one person plays Predator. 4 or 5 people play a fire team trying to hunt Predator or not get killed by him.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm curious to look at Fire Team, Aliens, Fire Team, whatever that's called.
Yeah.
That actually looked good.
Yeah, Skill Up gave that a reasonably positive review. So.
And it's only like a €40 game.
Yeah, he said it's not without its issues, but it's
for what
fun.
it is.
It's fun as fuck.
You take it as at face value sometimes.
He said it's quite fun. But yeah. Shall we
can't
wrap
see
it up
anything
there
here.
then?
Yeah, I think we should end it on that note.
Okay, so yeah,
I think we
that
both
was
substantially liked fucking Miles Morales.
go play it. It's great for what it is. It's a pity it's not maybe 3 or 4 hours longer, but look, I can't complain about one game being too long and then complain about another game being too short. It's like wanting your cake and I don't know, eating it too, and then yeah, it's good. I enjoyed it. It's not even full price. I don't think so. Yeah.
I think it's like €40 as well.
I don't know
as a next gen
Can you
title,
get it on PS4?
You can get it on PS4.
Do you know what I didn't know you could get on PS3 that was the news this week actually, that the Metal Gear Solid 5 servers on PS3
Oh, we're getting
and
shut
Xbox
down.
3.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like, wait, you could play Phantom Pain on PS3? What? I was not aware of this. But anyway, yeah. I can't imagine that was the best experiences.
No.
But yeah, that was our Miles Morales thing, and we also touched on the PlayStation Showcase that's coming out next week. Play Miles Morales, watch the PlayStation Showcase next week.
And tell me about it the next day.
Yeah, and then come in to our YouTube comments and tell Dill about it the next day. If you've listened all this way, thank you as always. That was episode 31.
Hopefully we'll have three amigos back together next week.
We should do.
Yeah. Sounds good. Yeah. I think that's all we have to say. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
If Streamlabs would work for me. Bye.